Hello everyone, so I have just returned from my almost 3-week-long interrailing trip. I literally returned a few hours ago. I've just had a bit of a rest, some food. I wanted to unpack my suitcase and my bag, and I decided that this would be kind of the ideal time to film this. I considered filming it like as I was packing, but then I realized that I wouldn't be able to kind of comment on what was useful, what wasn't useful, what I wish I had brought, what I wish I hadn't brought, etc, etc. So I feel like this is kind of the optimum time to do this, as it will on one hand help me unpack this quite quickly, but also be most useful to whoever is watching this and potentially packing for their own interrailing trip. So first, I feel like I should add a few disclaimers. This was my first ever interrailing trip. I've traveled quite a bit before. I've traveled solo before, so I did kind of know the ins and outs of what I should pack, what would be useful for me, but I've also never traveled in this way before, where I would go from one location to another location to another location to another location. It's always been from home to one location and back home. So this was a bit different for me. However, I've also lived abroad alone for about a year, so I am kind of self-sufficient in that regard. That being said, interrailing is something completely different. And another issue is I did indeed take a suitcase, which is a controversial decision. I feel like most people go with a backpack. I didn't do that, first of all, because I didn't own a backpack, and I didn't know if that sort of investment would make sense for me. And second of all, I don't know, I always feel like I'm quite weak with my arms, so for some reason I felt like pulling a suitcase would be easier than like carrying the load on my back. And I was also taking a smaller backpack with me, so that would be like my hand luggage. I thought it would make sense to have like one smaller backpack and then like pull a suitcase. If I were to make this decision again, I would definitely think twice, as I am currently covered in bruises. They're kind of fading now, but there was a point where I was just like so bruised, and that was the moment when I was traveling like every 1 to 2 days. Like my arms were completely covered in bruises because my suitcase would just like hit it every time I'd like pull it up the stairs or pull it down the stairs. There's definitely an aspect to think about. I'm also the type of person to walk a lot, to use public transport a lot, obviously trains a lot, so that's another thing that added to me bruising so much. Yeah, I'm not sure if I would go for a backpack next time, honestly. I'd probably have to contemplate the location I'm going to, but that's definitely something to heavily consider when making that decision. I also took a slightly larger size of suitcase that I was originally planning, and that was partially because I was flying back and I left purchasing the flight a little bit too late, and all the tickets with just like small hand luggage were sold out, so I was kind of forced to get the 20-kilogram suitcase, which is not fun because obviously those are a bit more expensive, but that also meant I had a little bit more space to pack. I didn't take like the biggest suitcase you could take, which is like the 20-kilogram one. Mine was closer to 15 kilograms, which is more than like the standard 10, so I guess I had a little bit more room, but that was partially because of my mistake. But overall, I am quite glad that I had that extra room because it allowed me to pack a few more things, which again, I was interrailing for the first time. I was interrailing alone for the first time. There were a few things that maybe I didn't need to pack, but overall I'm glad I took them because better safe than sorry, in my opinion, in this first situation for me. However, if you want to save yourself some space and also some money, definitely book your tickets in advance. Don't leave it as late as I did. So in total, I had this one 15-kilogram suitcase, and that was kind of my main bit of luggage. For the majority of my trip, I use a backpack, and that is where I stored kind of my essentials, like my phone, my wallet, my iPad, just like things that I wanted to have on me all the time, plus snacks. For the last bit of the trip, I actually packed this away, and I took this massive tote bag as a carry-on, and this is just a bag that I picked up when I was in Monaco. It was just like a supermarket bag, but I thought it was really cute. But it was super useful because it's much bigger than my backpack. Overall, I was able to only take one bag, even though I had allowance for 2 on the airplane, but that just made everything a lot easier for me, just to have like one bag with everything in it rather than like a bunch of bags all around me. So I had this backpack, but this is completely empty. I took all of the stuff out that I would normally carry in it on like day trips and stuff, and I put everything in this burlap bag. So this I just like packed down flat into my suitcase. Now I don't exactly know how to get through all this stuff because originally I had it all nicely organized in packing cubes, but throughout the duration of my trip, like that organizational system has all been completely destroyed. partially because I was wearing some clothes and then some of them I was re-wearing and washing, but there were also certain items that towards the end of my trip I just knew I wouldn't have to re-wear, so there was no point in washing them. So I just had like one big bag where I stuffed all of my used clothes that I knew I wouldn't be wearing again. So I'll kind of just be going through this bag in absolutely no particular order of what I packed, and I'll be saying if I thought it was useful or not. Okay, so first thing is one of my cosmetics bags. This one is a really useful one because it's one of these hanging ones. I kept the bulk of my cosmetics here except for my makeup and my skincare. Those two were separate. So here I just kept some soap, some shampoo, conditioner, all of that stuff at the top. I've already like used some of the bits and thrown them out along the way. I had like a small bar of soap, a small conditioner, and as soon as I used those up, I tossed them so that they wouldn't take up valuable space. I had one bottle of nail polish, which controversial choice maybe, but I liked having my nails painted. A nail file, a comb, just hair ties, that sort of stuff. And then at the bottom it was more like medication, so I had some allergy pills, extra contact lenses, nasal spray, which was actually really useful because I got kind of sick midway through my trip, and that was just super useful. Something for my throats, just in general. Like, oh, band-aids, those were so useful. I get blisters so badly, so that was a complete necessity. Like, I had a full box of band-aids and I basically used them all up. I wish I had to, I completely forgot. I wish I had taken bug spray, something for bites and stings, because I got so many mosquito bites, it's not even funny. I also got stung by a bee one time, so definitely bring bug spray and that sort of stuff. I completely forgot about it. I also had this little like nail kit, which I did have like nail clippers, nail files and stuff like that, but for me a complete essential that I never really hear people talking about is I took a little needle in a plastic bag so that I wouldn't lose it, because I get so many blisters when I walk. Like, there was one point where I literally had like 3 blisters on top of each other. It was so bad. Like, having this little needle to like pop the blisters, as gross as it sounds, will save your feet a lot of the time. So this is something that I learned on trips in the past. I like walking a lot, but that also means that you will get a lot of blisters. So having a needle, complete essential for me. And something that was additionally useful for me was having this bottle of aloe gel. First of all, I get sunburned really easily. Even though I was applying SPF 50 almost every day, I got really bad sunburn, so this was super useful for that, but also just for moisturizing. It's so important to have some sort of moisturizer for your body, and not only your face. So this was a complete lifesaver. I genuinely used like more than half of this bottle, and I'm so glad I took this. Again, possibly a controversial choice, but I took some hair tools. I generally like styling my hair sometimes. I obviously did not have time for this every single day. In fact, most days. However, throughout my 3 weeks or so of travel, I used this probably like 5 times, which I think means that it was worth bringing it. So I took my hair curler and also my little hair curlers for my bangs. Again, completely not a necessity, but there were a few days when I had a little bit more time and I wanted to have cute photos where I would have wavy hair, and I do think it was worth it for me personally. And also a comb, which broke, but it works. Another item which for me personally was really useful to have was a tripod. And again, this is not for everyone, but I wanted to film my interrail diaries. I will probably be posting vlogs from my interrail trip. It was definitely a part of my summer that I wanted to remember forever. And having this tripod helped me a lot of times, whether it was when I was out alone and I wanted to get a photo of something, or whether I was with a group of people and I wanted to get a photo or video of all of us together. I used this, and even at one point when I was really tired at my hostel and I was watching a movie because I was dead and tired at the end of the day, I put my phone in this and had my phone lifted and watched a video of it. So this is definitely not essential, but there were so many moments that I was so glad I had this. And this is my other makeup bag. This is one that I thrifted like right before my trip, and I'm so glad I did because the fact that this is clear is so helpful. I just have like my cleansers, my SPF, my toothbrush, my moisture, like all the essentials. Again, this might seem excessive to some people. To me, it's kind of necessary. This is my makeup bag, and normally my makeup bag is much larger, but I definitely condensed this. I don't know if this is condensed to some people. To me it is. My normal makeup bag is twice the size, perhaps. Again, for some people, non-essential. I enjoyed having this with me, and I think it was really necessary for me. I did try to minimize what I took, and I feel like this makeup bag is quite small. And then a towel. This is one of the quick drying towels, the ones that like pack down really small. So useful to have this. Obviously not all hostels provide you with towels and then you'll have to pay, but the fact that this was so small and packed down so small and that it was quick drying was just incredible. If I ever like went to the beach or something, this was great to have. And speaking of the beach or water, I went to a few beaches, a few lakes, and this was absolutely essential to me. This is one of those little baggies that are waterproof. You put your phone and your documents and whatever in there, then you close this up and it kind of like locks it, and then you can put it around your neck. So this was absolutely essential to me. If I was going to some sort of water reservoir where I knew I would be swimming, I would take this. I would not take my wallet. I would just take out a little bit of cash, my ID, any sort of documentation that I would need because my wallet does not fit in here, my phone, any sort of like key card, and I just like put this around my neck, and then I'd be able to like leave the rest of my stuff because I didn't really think anyone would like steal my power bank or my towel and stuff, whereas these were like the things that I could not live without. And just for extra security, because I personally always fear that like this will break, even though I've had this exact thing for like 5 years now. I think I'm always kind of scared that it will break for some reason, so I always, when I'm wearing this, I have this around my neck and then I tug this like under my bikini. I like feeling it on me at all times rather than like grasping in the water and stressing about whether or not it's still on me or if it's like fallen to the bottom of the lake. So I just think that that's like another layer of protection that I really appreciate, and it's really easy, just like tuck it inside your bikini top and you're fine. I also had this little throw that I would sometimes wear over my bikini. It's just like this very thin fabric. Don't know if this was necessary honestly, but I liked having it the few times that I wore it. However, even more useful than that was a cotton shirt. This one's very creased and gross. It was at the bottom of my suitcase, but it's something completely essential to me. I'd say more often than not I would use this rather than wearing a towel. This is just an extra large cotton shirt that I thrifted. Like any cotton shirt, I feel like it's such a great throw over a bikini so that you don't have to like worry about wearing your clothes. And even not for the beach, it's just like an extra piece of clothing, an extra layer that you can wear if you're ever cold. I feel like you can never go wrong with an oversized shirt. So this is definitely something that I wore over and over and over again in multiple different ways. I also took a bucket hat. This one is quite cool because it's reversible, so I had like 2 in 1, and also a headscarf. And again, I was traveling July to August, so something to protect me from the sun was very useful. I also took 2 bras, which I basically did not wear. I mean, bras don't take up too much space, but also I think I wore a bra on my first day and then I got really uncomfortable and really sweaty, and I probably did not wear a bra for the rest of my trip, and I kind of regret bringing them because I did not use them. What I did, however, wear religiously was just like tank tops. I had so many tank tops. I brought like 10, I think, and I do not regret bringing any of them. I wore them pretty much every day. I just had like a tank top with jeans or a skirt or some sort of bottoms, shorts, trousers, whatever, because it was just so hot and so warm every day. So that was basically my uniform every single day, and they're also so comfy. But I also wore them as my pajamas, so again I'd wear some sweatpants, and I do not regret having so many of them because this is basically all I wore. And I'm not going to show all of them individually because they were just like different colors of tank tops. Some of them were slightly like different shapes, different cuts, but all of them were kind of like really cut out small tops which don't take too much space, but I wore them religiously throughout this trip. I took 2 bikinis, 2 bikini tops, and 2 bikini bottoms. The bottoms were exactly the same. Both were like high-waisted black ones, and then I took again 2 black tops. This one is slightly different in shape and also pattern. This is just like basic black one. I feel like 2 was the perfect amount, so if I wore one and it was drying, I had another one to spare. Again, they don't take too much space, so it doesn't really matter that much. I took 2 pairs of sweatpants, which initially I thought I'd wear them for travel days. I didn't really. I mostly just wore like shorts or denim because I wouldn't really want to like wear sweatpants when I was exploring a pretty city. I did wear them for sleeping, so I'm really glad that I bought 2 pairs because that means that I didn't really have to wash them too much, and I just wore the 2 pairs the whole time. I also brought a few of these little very thin, very silky, lightweight dresses, which again for the summer months were great. And a little hack that I did with some of my dresses was I either wore them as a top, where I would like tuck them into some jeans or shorts, or I would like tie them up on the side, especially if I was like wearing a bikini or something, and I'd wear them as a skirt. I really feel like that doubled up some of my outfits. I didn't bring too many warm clothes again because of the time of year when I was traveling, but I did bring 2 cardigans. So I brought one black one, you can't even really tell, very basic black cardigan. I also brought a gray one, which is somewhere in my suitcase, again very basic gray cardigan. These were useful as there was like 1 or 2 days when it was a little bit colder and rainier, so I did wear those then. And if anything, it was just to have like a little soft thing to cuddle up on the train. And also trains do use aircon, so there were a few times when, even though it was really hot outside, I was quite cold on the train. So I would recommend packing one warmer thing into your backpack when you're traveling, just for those moments. I actually did bring like one black mini skirt, which originally I kind of regretted bringing it rather than more like flowy summery skirts, but honestly I'm kind of happy that I did bring it, as I think it kind of changed up my outfits from like the flowy summery outfits to something a little bit more preppy for one, which I do like that type of style. Okay, excuse the change in lighting, but it was getting really dark outside and I was using natural light, but I want to have this finished by today, so hopefully this isn't terrible. Okay, continuing what I brought, I actually forgot to mention the things that I was wearing today. So again, just like regular little tank top, and some denim shorts. I only took 1 pair of denim shorts, and I just thought this would be like one of the most comfortable outfits for the airport. I also wore my Doc Martens. I just decided to wear my bulkiest shoes on the day of travel. And I also had a crew neck, which was really handy that I had it because it was very cold on the plane. And going with other shoes, I actually had a pair of flip-flops with me, which I threw out this morning as they were completely destroyed. Like the strap, I went to the beach this morning and the strap was like completely destroyed by this point. Like throughout the duration of the trip, they were kind of getting worse and worse, but I was still able to like pop it back through, somehow salvage it. But today it was just like completely gone, so I tossed them out. So I also had these little mules, which in general are some of my favorite shoes to have. I find that they're quite comfy. They do give me blisters a bit, but most shoes do. However, one of the heels broke, which made it very like hard to walk as they got quite slippery. So I did try to wear them for a large majority of my trip, but towards the end I just could not. So I actually ended up buying a new pair of sandals. I didn't want to buy something that I wouldn't like, so I waited kind of towards the end of the trip until I actually found something that I found relatively comfy, that I kind of enjoyed the look of, and that wouldn't be too expensive. So I actually got these platform sandals, which made them so comfy. They did end up giving me blisters around the strap areas towards the end, but just the platform bit made them so comfy. And they really ended up saving me, and I got them for like 20 something euros on sale. So I'm very glad that I did get them, because I don't think I would have been able to do some of the hikes I did in those broken sandals. I will try to fix them. I will try to get the heel fixed because I really do like them, but again, this is just a necessity and one of those things that sometimes you just have to buy something during your trips. So perhaps from shoes I could go into bags. The only thing I really wore, except for like my backpack, was tote bags. I took around 5 tote bags, which might seem excessive again, but they're so easy to like make really compact. You just roll them up really tiny and put them in your suitcase. And I used all of them so much. First of all, just like carry stuff around, but also when you're packing things in your bag, it's so easy to use them as like separation and to organize different things. I also used one of them to like compile my laundry towards the end of my trip when I wasn't really washing things through anymore. Having several tote bags is something that I always remember to bring for most of my trips. And then apart from that, I took one small purse, which again, I was wondering if I should bring it. I didn't know whether or not I'd use it. However, in general, I do use these tiny bags all the time. So I thought it's quite small and I'll take my black one as it'll go with everything. I did actually end up using it like 3 times or so. I didn't go out too much on this trip, but the few times I did, I would always bring this bag. So I'm really glad I ended up bringing it. And this is my main laundry bag. I will not be going through it because it's gross. But I mostly have like all the little tank tops. I took a few little dresses. I took quite a few pairs of socks because I was wearing my Doc Martens for a lot of the trip. Yeah, it's mostly just tank tops. I took one pair of leggings that I wore the first day of my trip. My first really long travel day, I wore leggings, but I didn't really wear them after, so I don't know if I'd bring them again. Oh, and I took, in total, I think I took 3 dresses. And one of them was a black one. I'm really glad that I took a black one because my other ones are quite like colorful and summery, which is great, but I feel like having one neutral black dress that you can wear over and over and over again is also really, really useful. Okay, so for bottoms, as I said, I had one pair of shorts. I had that skirt that I showed before, and I also had one pair of jeans and one pair of black trousers, and I wore both of these quite a lot. These were mostly what I wore on travel days, as I feel like they look nice enough to wear out and about when I'm exploring a city, but also they're really comfortable for travel days. And this was basically my uniform with like a colorful or just like a black or white tank top and a few more of my tank tops. So this is basically like most of the clothes that I brought. Then I have a few little bits here and there that I took. A claw clip, really useful when you get sweaty when you're traveling and stuff. Great to pin your hair back. I took my menstrual cup because I unfortunately did get my period during this trip, which was great, but it was so nice having a menstrual cup for all my swimming. I had a little thing of jewelry. Just, I did like wearing some earrings or some necklaces here and there. I mean, it's the summer, you do want to get a little glam sometimes, but I felt that this little thing was just enough for me. Glasses, I did not wear them the whole trip. I wore my contact lenses. However, for peace of mind, it was really good to have them just in case, I don't know, something happened to my eye. I couldn't wear contact lenses. I lost my contact lenses. It was just really, really good to have these. This whole thing of padlocks and a whistle. I thought I'd need them more for hostels, but honestly, only one of my hostels required the use of a padlock. All the others had lockers with like padlocks provided, which was really, really handy. And that is pretty much my suitcase. I still have a few things in this tote that I will go through. Water bottle, pretty essential, pretty self-explanatory. However, for most of my trips, I had this plus a 1.5 liter plastic bottle that I had from some orange juice that I bought at the beginning of my trip. I just kept it, and I always stored that bottle inside my backpack. I would mostly drink out of this bottle because it is insulated, so it would actually keep the water cold when it was really, really hot outside. However, in case I got stranded on a train station for God knows how long, which actually did happen to me one time, it was always really nice to know that I had like 1.5 liter of water with me just in case. I also had a book with me. Did not end up finishing this, but again, it was nice to have something to pass the time. My wallet, pretty self-explanatory. I have a different wallet for travel than I do general life, purely because I did not want to have anything with logos on it. I wanted to have the most standard, like cheap looking wallet that I could, so I have a different wallet for when I travel. Sunglasses case. I only had one pair of sunglasses, surprisingly. I normally take like 5, but I was really happy with the pair I had, so I didn't feel the need to have more. An eye mask. Actually didn't end up using this at all, but I feel like in shared sleeping situations like hostels, it's always useful to have one of those. I also always carried some granola bars and things with me, again, just in case. And another little tote bag. I also had one makeup bag. Yes, this is from the Harry Styles concert. I had one little makeup bag where I would keep all of my electronics. Not that I had like a lot of electronics, but I found it really helpful to have everything contained in one bag. So I had my phone charger, my iPad slash power bank charger, and my headphones. I think that's pretty much it. But I find it really, really helpful to just have everything in one space rather than like all over my bag. And again, my headphones, my power bank. I mean, I feel like this is really self-explanatory. I don't know how I would have survived this trip without my power bank. That is to say, without my phone, but my phone's battery is not great, so this literally saved me. Just have a power bank that will last you like at least 2 days or so, just in case. Some more SPF 50. The one before was for my face and this one was for my body. Deodorant. And also this, it was so nice to have this. Sometimes when you're on local trains, it gets so stuffy if they're not air conditioned, and there's also so many people. Even at the airport, this was so nice to just clean yourself with. And I know you can buy these when you're traveling, but I find that they're always so overpriced. I got this one at a thrift store for about €1 a while back, so I'm very, very glad that I took this, but don't buy the overpriced touristy ones. They're not worth it. And that is pretty much it. That is pretty much everything that I brought for 3 weeks of interrailing. Looking back at these things, perhaps I brought a few too many items of clothing. I definitely could have downsized in some areas. However, seeing as this was my first trip of this kind, I am glad that I took everything I did. It just helped me feel a lot more safe and secure in a lot of situations, to know that I had everything I absolutely needed. I also had a bit more space allowance in case I had to buy something, or like the sandals that I brought. I knew that I had a bit more space in my suitcase in case I needed to get something like that, which was really reassuring. And overall, there's not really anything apart from perhaps the bug spray that I wish I had brought with me. I think I did a pretty good job packing everything that I needed, and I'm glad that at least I wasn't in the situation where I desperately needed something and I didn't have it. I'll probably be a bit more conscientious of my space and the items I bring for future trips, but also those won't be my first ever time interrailing, so I'll kind of be a bit less stressed or overwhelmed with the idea of that type of trip in the future. I hope that this video was useful. I hope that going through and unpacking my suitcase, which was basically my home or my only one stable item in the last 3 weeks, I hope this was useful for someone. I hope it'll maybe help you decide what you might need, what you might not need, or if anything, serve as sort of a checklist of the items that might come in handy that you didn't think of. If there's any questions about interrailing, feel free to leave them down below, and I'll hopefully see you when I post my interrail travel diaries. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!